Hello, ladies and gentlemen, this is Schultzy. Now, this is a preview, review, first impressions, whatever you call it. And Dead Space 3. First things first, for those who just really want to know, is it a fun game? Is it enjoyable? Yes. You're going to probably enjoy this if you like the first two. If you like tension in video games, this game does have tension. If you like atmosphere in games and tension, you're going to definitely enjoy this. Is it scary? No. Jump scares? Yes, but the game is not scary. This game is all based on tension and atmosphere. Now, all you're going to get out of this, for the most part, are jump scares. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. But it is enjoyable. Now, calling this a horror game is a misnomer. The game does not have true horror elements. You are pretty powerful to begin with. You have the ability to take on things and not have a problem. A true horror game has the character being weak and just barely scraping away and surviving through each and every engagement. When you're able to march away through each engagement like a soldier, it loses its sense of horror. Now, right here and there, that at most will ever be a jump scare, and there's nothing wrong with this, and there's nothing wrong with it in the least. There's good tension. There's good jump scares if you're here for a quick holy crap, what happened? But as a whole, it's not a horror game. Is it fun? Yes. That is unequivocally done there. It is fun. You can't argue that this game doesn't have some redeeming, enjoying qualities. But all it is jump scares and just little shocking areas. The first one had the closest sense of scares because you did not know what was going to happen or what these creatures were. The more you understand, the more you know of these creatures, and the more that's pushed on, the less scary that this game becomes in a whole. And that's the only greatest weakness of this game, is that being a true scary game is the unknown and the tension of not making it through the battles. Where most of these gun games, this is more of a shooter than anything, that most of the time you're not freaking out, am I going to make it through engagement to engagement? Most of the time you are powerful enough and you have powerful enough weapons to deal with every engagement you're going to go through. And that's why this game cannot and should never be classified as horror. It's a tension game because there's a lot it's a very oppressive, intense atmosphere that pushes a little stress on the player, but as a whole, there are no scary elements. There's no, holy crap, I can't deal with this. Most of the time, you can deal with these situations by pummeling rounds through it without a problem. And that's why, if you try to classify this as a horror game, it's not really one. But if you classify this as a intense action shooter or whatever like this is the probably the modernization of what a horror game will ever be. It's fun, it's enjoyable, but it's not scary. Which is a sad part, because if you really want a scary game, you really have to make sure the character is weak, unable to really truly deal with the situations that are given to him, and make him freak out what comes at him. The fact that we know what's coming at us, we're seeing what's coming at us, really destroys the sense of horror that this game could have. Now, is that a bad thing? Yes, actually, for a horror game, that's a bad thing. But if you're making this game into an action-y game, there's no problem with this, because this game is more of an action game with really creepy and crazy enemies. Now, scenes like this do build tension because you are trying to survive like in any other game. And that's what makes it good for tension, because you're trying to survive. Now, is it a great game with these quick time events? I'm going to say no, but you're going to still enjoy this game if you enjoyed the first two. And that's the biggest thing. If you enjoy the first two, you're going to enjoy this. If you're in the mood for a horror game, you're going to be kind of disappointed, because this is not a true horror game. But if you're looking for a cool game that is quasi-horror, pseudo-horror, where it's more of jump scares and tension, really heavy tension, and thick atmosphere of the oppressive, oh my god, am I going to survive feel, you're going to be, the feel and an illusion of it is there, for the most part. But once you realize you can take on every enemy, and all they have to deal is jump scares, you're going to be breezing through this game like it's nothing, because you're already going to realize you're going to be able to do whatever you want. Now, the customization of building your own weapons is a good addition But with this edition, it loses it starts degrading any sense of horror that could ever be there, because you can start building an arsenal that is super powerful, that you can take down these enemies and make them into frickin' Swiss cheese. And that's why, as I said before, this can't be classified as horror whatsoever, because it's nothing like it. It doesn't really scare you in a true sense of unnerving. It's tense because you're trying to fight each engagement, but once you realize you can build weapons, or you have a weapon that can easily decimate 90% of these enemies, they lose a sense of actually being tense and scary. Now, those people who are saying, oh, this is scary, this is intense, are probably wrong. Now, is it tense? Yes. It can be tense, but most of the time you'll realize you can take down these guys easily, even if they're spinning around like that. And that's the thing. Is it fun? Yes. Is it a good game? Yes. Though, also with the idea of the co-op partner that they have in here, if you have someone with you, the sense of horror goes right out the window. There is no sense of horror when you have a buddy watching your back. That's the biggest problem with this idea of that this is a horror game, because when you have someone watching your back, talking to you and with you, the sense of foreboding and being alone with no one there to help you is lost immediately. And with the crafting system and that, this destroys what true horror is. True horror should be a game that freaks you out to the point where you want to put it down because you're freaked out. This game is a tense action shooter-like game. Is it bad? No. You cannot say that it's not bad. It is fun. It is enjoyable, but it's not horror. It's not great. And that is, people are going to give it 5 out of 5, saying it's a great game. Is it a bad game? No. That is you can't understate that it's not a bad game. But with all these new elements, it moves further and further and further away of horror games. Without a doubt, it moves so far away from horror. It loses. It tries to call itself horror because of the monsters, and I'm saying monsters in quotations, because that's the only thing that they have are jump scares, and this weird mutated necromorph-like creature is there. That's the only thing that they try to cling on, saying that it's horror. Is this a bad thing? Is this a bad move? No, but anyone who knows games and plays games with any moniker of knowledge of these games knows this is nothing like a horror game. It's just a very tense action shooter with a very good atmosphere that sets up a notion of tension and a foreboding nature, and which is what is the great part about it, because it does have a very good sense of atmosphere in place. But with the building system and the co-op partner that you have with you does destroy the sense of fear that comes in this game that should always be in a horror game. Though, as I'll say in closing, is it a good game? Yes. Will you enjoy it? Probably, most likely, if you enjoyed the first ones. If you like action shooters, you probably will like this one. But if you're looking for horror, you will be disappointed because it hasn't ever been about horror. You have too much power in your system. Your weapons are too powerful. And all it has to is jump scares. And that is not true horror. But you will enjoy it for the most part if you like the previous ones, or you're thinking of dabbling in the first stages of horror games, because this is not a bad beginning game into true horror sense of any horror games, because it's like a gentle little wheels on the side of a bicycle, training wheels to get you on the mode of things are going to be slightly scary for truly horror games. Now, I hope this has helped. Please tell me what you think, and thank you, and good night.